Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. Wow, big blow for Arsenal's transfer plans yesterday. The player that we've been chasing all window, I've spoken about him every single day of the January transfer window, is Dusan Vlahovic. And we got the news yesterday that Juventus have come in with a big bid. Fiorentina have accepted that bid, and it looks like he's on his way to Juventus. Arsenal's number one target. They outlaid the money and everything. Is on his way to Juventus. It was a huge blow. I caught up yesterday, actually, over on DR Sports with transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, and I asked him all about the deal. This is what he had to say.
Yes, they're really close. Juventus are really close to sign Dusan Vlahovic. We're talking about matter of final things, of details, but the agreement between clubs is in place. Juventus submitted an official proposal today morning, around 75 million euros paid in installments. So everything is agreed between Juventus and Fiorentina. Now Juventus are negotiating with Dusan Vlahovic, but the expectation around Juventus is to reach an agreement also with the player really soon and to complete this deal this week. So Juventus are really convinced that they will get this top deal done for Dusan Vlahovic. It's not 100% completed yet, but we are in the final stages. And so, yes, for Arsenal was really complicated because they had an important bid to Fiorentina. They made an important bid, but at the same point, as you mentioned, the player was not answering. His agents were not answering, and so his desire was to stay in Italy and to go to Juventus.
And that's always been the club he's really wanted to go to, hasn't it, been?
This is the feeling. Yes, this is the feeling. Maybe the right step at this moment, for him to play Champions League football immediately, because Juventus have Villarreal clash in February. Also to stay in Italy, he knows the league, and maybe to move to Premier League or La Liga in the future. So I think it makes sense for him on a Vlahovic point of view. In my opinion, he had the chance to go also to the Premier League, Arsenal, Tottenham. There were very good chances for him to prove him in Premier League. So surprising move, to be honest, because we were not expecting Vlahovic to decide in January to leave the club, but this is transfer market.
It's a transfer market now. Who will Arsenal turn to now that, you know, their number one target for this transfer window is gone? Obviously, as an Arsenal fan at the weekend, they missed a lot of chances. They've got a real problem with scoring goals at the moment. Now, some of the strikers they've been looking at, Alexander Isak is another one. Plays his football over there for Real Sociedad. Any chance of that?
Yes, he's a player that Arsenal appreciate and 100% in Arsenal list. So I think for January window, for the final days, is complicated because Real Sociedad always say they don't want to sell the player in January. I'm sure that Arsenal will try to sign a striker in January, like Alexander Isak or others that they have in the list. For example, also Jonathan David of Lille is a player they have in the list, but it's complicated. In January, I'm told that he's not leaving. So there are many players in the list, but it's very difficult to get these deals done in January. So this is why maybe if Arsenal will not be able to sign a top striker in January, they will go for this big name in the summer.
So there you have it. No Dusan Vlahovic, and even Alexander Isak be a very, very difficult deal to get done, according to Fabrizio Romano, because, again, Real Sociedad just don't want to sell him in the January transfer window. This has been the big problem. It's January. And in January, it's very difficult to get these big deals done. It would have been the biggest deal of the window for Arsenal, but Juventus, they sense that Arsenal maybe have a chance of getting it done. They want Vlahovic. They've come in with the money, and, you know, he wanted to, you know, Juventus is kind of his dream club that he wanted to go to, and we've missed out. We've missed out. What are we going to do? It's really sort of put the window into a bit of turmoil. And, you know, it's hard to fault Arsenal on trying to go for Vlahovic because they put the money up. They were serious with this one. They went at it hard, but the player doesn't want to come to Arsenal. The player wants to go to Juventus. And I was having this argument with my brother the other day when we were talking about, he was saying to me he'd rather win the Carabao Cup than get in the top four. I said, no chance. The top four is important because of the type of players that you can attract. When you've got that Champions League football and you've got a guy like Vlahovic, for instance, who's playing at Fiorentina, that are not going to be in the Champions League, when you can offer that, it's a massive incentive. And it'd be a massive incentive for any player that we're trying to get. And that's why it's so important this season to push for the Champions League. But who are we going to get in as a striker? I mean, there's been many suggested. I've spoken about them. You heard Fabrizio there talking about Jonathan David and people like that, but saying how difficult they are. There's been Calvert-Lewin suggested. But again, I think Calvert-Lewin, let's be real right now, you know, Everton on the verge of appointing a brand new manager. Are they going to let their goal scorer go? They're not short of money. They got our previous, you know, part owners there. They're not going to let Calvert-Lewin go in January. They're in a relegation fight right now. A couple more defeats for Everton, and they're right down there in a relegation fight. Everybody knows to get out of a relegation fight, you need goal scorers, and they've got one in Calvert-Lewin. I don't see any chance of it. I don't see any chance of it at all. And, you know, there's other players being spoken about. We spoke about it yesterday, Luka Jovic. To me, that would be a bit of a desperation move. You know, he's not pulled up any trees. And again, as I said, there's been an injury to Karim Benzema. So very unlikely that even if that could happen, that, you know, Real Madrid would loan him or sell him anyway. We may have to do a U-turn and go back to Aubameyang. If we can't get anybody in, surely we have to. If not, what do we do? I mean, Aubameyang might just, even if we did do a U-turn and go back to Aubameyang, he might just stick two fingers up and say, sorry, I want to go. I mean, apparently there's a lot of clubs around Europe now looking at him. AC Milan is said to be the club that are the biggest favourites to possibly land him. But I don't know if they're going to be able to match those wages. Even if you've got to pay half of Aubameyang's wages, it's a huge amount to take on board from now till the end of the season. I'm sure Aubameyang would like a move to AC Milan because, you know, remember he started off at AC Milan when he first came, you know, first left from France. But I don't know. We've seen the evidence is there over the past month. 1 goal in the whole of January, 4 consecutive games without a goal. We need a striker, but who are we going to turn to? With Vlahovic out the window and some of the other targets looking really difficult, who knows what we're going to do? It's going to be interesting. There's still some days left. Let's see what happens. And then on top of the blow of Vlahovic not coming to Arsenal, we then heard yesterday that this guy, Bruno Guimaraes, I remember we were chasing him all summer. You know, we were interested in him. We've been interested in this January transfer window, but seemingly Arsenal didn't really make a move because it was such a difficult deal and expensive deal to get done. Lyon wouldn't budge. They wanted crazy money, 45 million and things like that. Well, now Newcastle, Mr. You know, the new money bags team on the scene. Always knew they were going to be a big threat. They've made a £33.3 million bid for Bruno Guimaraes, which has been accepted by Lyon. Remember the reported fee AC 27. They've gone over the odds of it. It's been accepted, and now it's just in the hands of the player. Will Bruno Guimaraes accept that bid? And remember how desperate we've been for a midfielder. And he fitted the bill perfectly. But now he's seemingly on his way to Newcastle, which again is a big blow to Arsenal because we know that Edu is a big admirer of Bruno Guimaraes. Will we go in and try and match that bid? I guess Arsenal don't want to get into a bidding war with Newcastle. No chance, right? You're not going to win that. Another midfielder that Arsenal will be interested in, and you know, we're starting to hear a lot more on this one, is Douglas Luiz. I've spoken about this one earlier on in the transfer window. Of course, Mikel Arteta knows him from his time at Man City. He was, you know, originally a Man City player and was on loan at Villa. Now he's only got 17 months, I think it is, left on his current contract at Aston Villa, and he hasn't yet sat down with Villa and started to talk to them about a new contract. Villa as well, quite intriguingly at the moment, of on the verge of signing Rodrigo Bentancur from Juventus. Again, does that mean that Douglas Luiz is possibly on his way out this window? Wouldn't be cheap. You know, Villa would want about 30 million, but they've been spending a lot of money, Villa, and, you know, they might be willing to recoup that, especially if they're bringing in another midfielder. I like Douglas Luiz. I think, you know, we could do with a defensive midfielder, a real one of top quality, and I think he is good, and I think he is a player. He's still young, he's going to get better. But let's keep an eye on that one. That is a possibility because we still need that midfielder. And the Wijnaldum one, again, you know, depending on what reports you read, you know, Fabrizio Romano said to me yesterday in that interview, and you can go and check that out over on DR Sports, saying that he thinks Wijnaldum is going to stay. He wants to stay and play Champions League football. There's other reports saying that Wijnaldum could leave because PSG are interested in Ndombele from Tottenham, and if they bring him in, that again lessens his chances of playing. Let's keep an eye on that one. Does look like he'll probably stay, but let's keep an eye on that one. And Arsenal have also been showing an interest in Tyler Adams of RB Leipzig. Used to be predominantly like a right back, but now he seems to play more sort of the right-hand side of midfield. It's got a reported fee of 18 million according to Transfer Market, but he does have a reported release clause of around 32 million pounds. More plays as a defensive midfielder and has been very impressive in that position. Could Arsenal try and make a move to sign Tyler Adams? We still need that midfielder. We're still lacking that. Or could Arthur, the deal for Arthur, again, a deal that was looking, you know, about a week or so ago, like it was likely to go through. It's hit big problems. Lots of suggestions that this is going to collapse this deal. As I said, Juventus, all along what they've been saying, they want replacements coming in before they let him go. Could go right down to the wire. But again, we're going to have to see how that one pans out. So it's not been a good 24 hours for Arsenal in the transfer window. However, there are still days to go. The transfer window closes on Monday, and we have to wait and see what Arsenal can pull off. But at the moment, it's not looking great. Don't forget to check out that interview I did with Fabrizio Romano over on DR Sports. We'll put a link in the description. Spoke a lot about Arsenal in that, so make sure you check that out. Also, we got a video coming out later on today where we take a look at 5 alternatives to Dusan Vlahovic in the striking department. We need a striker. So we're going to look at the 5 alternatives, so make sure you check that out as well. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV, and I will see you tomorrow.